The protagonist and family background. The conference room in downtown Austin was uncomfortably cold, the kind of chill that seeped into your bones, not from the air conditioning, but from the sheer tension in the room. Lauren Harper sat stiffly in one of the leather chairs, her fingers pressed tightly together on the mahogany table. She had always hated these kinds of meetings, where legal jargon masked human greed, where signatures could determine the course of someone's entire life. Sitting across from her, wearing an emerald green dress that probably cost more than Lauren's entire monthly rent, was Emily Harper, her younger sister and their father's favorite. Emily was leaning back in her chair, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against her phone screen as if she were bored. She hadn't looked at Lauren once since entering the room. To Emily, this was already settled. At the head of the table sat their father's longtime attorney, Daniel Whitmore, a man in his 60s with silver-streaked hair and a face that had seen far too many family feuds over money. Beside him, another lawyer flipped through a thick legal document, the will of William Harper, their recently deceased father. Lauren swallowed the lump forming in her throat. She hadn't shed a single tear at the funeral last week. Not because she hadn't cared, but because she had spent her entire life knowing where she stood with her father. Now she was about to hear it made official. The will reading. Emily takes it all. Mr. Whitmore cleared his throat, his voice steady but impersonal. We're here today for the reading of William Harper's last will and testament. As executor, it is my duty to disclose his final wishes regarding the division of his assets. Lauren glanced at the empty space on her right, the seat where their mother, Margaret Harper, should have been. But she had passed 3 years ago, leaving behind only whispers of comfort and cryptic words of warning. She inhaled sharply as the lawyer began. To my daughter, Emily Harper, I leave the following assets: the Harper estate, all family investment accounts, and full ownership of Harper Realty and Developments. Lauren's heart stopped. Emily's lips curled into a slow, satisfied smirk. She didn't even try to hide it. Well, Emily said, shifting in her chair, I guess Dad knew who the real success in the family was. Lauren clenched her fists under the table. The lawyer continued, but Lauren already knew. She wasn't getting anything. Still, she had to hear the words. To my daughter, Lauren Harper. She held her breath. I leave my love and best wishes. Silence. A suffocating, gut-wrenching silence. Lauren exhaled, trying not to let her face betray the humiliation clawing its way through her chest. Emily let out a soft chuckle and crossed her legs. Tough break, sis. Whitmore hesitated for a moment, as if weighing whether to say something else. Then he slid a second envelope across the table, directly toward Lauren. This was left by your mother before she passed. She instructed me not to give it to you until after your father's will was settled. For the first time since the meeting began, Emily actually looked interested, but Lauren didn't say a word. She took the envelope, gripping it tightly. She had a feeling this was what her mother had warned her about. Something was coming, something bigger than Emily could ever imagine. The letter and the key. Lauren drove through the quiet streets of downtown Austin, her mind racing. The envelope lay on the passenger seat, untouched. The weight of it felt heavier than it should, like it carried the last words of her mother, a whisper from beyond the grave. She didn't open it at the lawyer's office, didn't want to give Emily the satisfaction of seeing her scramble for crumbs. Now, back in her renovated loft apartment, she sat at her kitchen counter, staring at the envelope. The paper was old but well kept, as if her mother had written it long before she passed, knowing exactly what was coming. She slid a knife under the flap and pulled out a single sheet of paper. The familiar cursive writing made her chest tighten. My dearest Lauren, if you're reading this, then you already know. Your father left you nothing. But I knew this would happen. I knew from the moment I married him that he would always favor your sister. That's why I made sure that what truly matters wouldn't be in his hands. This house, this estate, it was never the real legacy. There's something far greater waiting for you. Go to my old study. Look under the floorboards. You'll find what you need there. I trust you to do the right thing. Love, Mom. Lauren's fingers trembled as she reached into the envelope again, pulling out a small, rusted key. She turned it over in her hand. A key to what? Her mother's study had been untouched for years, ever since she passed. If there was something hidden there, no one had found it. She suddenly felt cold, as if the past were reaching out to her, calling her back home. Sneaking into the estate at night, Lauren parked a block away from the Harper estate. She could see the house from where she stood, its grand pillars, its perfectly manicured lawn. Emily owned it now. The thought made Lauren's jaw tighten, but she forced herself to focus. The house was dark. Emily was probably still out celebrating, drinking champagne over the empire she'd inherited. Lauren had spent her entire childhood in this house, knew every creaky floorboard, every hidden passage in its massive halls. She took a deep breath and slipped inside through the back entrance, the one the housekeepers used when she was younger. Her heart pounded as she made her way through the empty halls, past the grand staircase, past the lavish rooms now belonging to Emily alone. Then, finally, she reached it, her mother's study. The room was untouched, just as she remembered. A large antique desk sat in the center, shelves stacked with old books, and a single lamp standing in the corner. She stepped forward, heart hammering in her chest, and ran her fingers along the edges of the floorboards. Then she felt it, a loose panel slightly raised. She knelt, prying it open, revealing a small metal box buried beneath the floor. She swallowed hard. Was this what her mother meant? Her hands shook as she took out the rusted key, slipping it into the lock. The lid clicked open. The shocking discovery. Inside the box was a thick stack of documents. Lauren pulled them out, flipping through them, her pulse quickening with each page. Property deeds, investment records, bank accounts, everything under her mother's maiden name, hidden from William Harper and his greedy plans. Lauren's eyes widened as she read the details. Multiple historic buildings in Austin's most valuable districts. A multi-million-dollar trust fund. Shampoo? A notarized statement confirming these assets were meant for Lauren alone. She sucked in a sharp breath. Her mother hadn't just left her something. She had left her everything that truly mattered. Lauren's stomach twisted as realization settled in. Emily thought she had won, but in reality, Lauren was now far wealthier than her sister could ever imagine. The first confrontation. She was still holding the papers when she heard the front door open. Her breath hitched. She shoved the documents into her bag and quickly placed the metal box back in its hiding spot. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Then, Emily appeared in the doorway. She was still dressed from her night out, heels clicking against the wooden floor. A half-empty wine glass dangled from her fingers, her face flushed from alcohol and victory. Lauren stood, meeting her gaze. Emily's lips curled into a smirk. "What are you doing here?" she asked, tilting her head. Lauren's pulse was steady now. She felt calm, too calm. She held her bag tightly, making sure the documents inside were secure. Emily took a slow sip of wine. "Still crying about Daddy's will?" she taunted. "You should have seen it coming." Lauren didn't respond. Instead, she reached into her bag and pulled out the rusted key, twirling it between her fingers. Emily's smirk faltered. Lauren stepped closer, just enough for her sister to hear. "Oh, I'm not worried," she murmured. "I think I'll be just fine." Then she turned on her heel and walked out, leaving Emily standing there, confused and unknowingly already defeated. Emily discovers the truth. The next morning, Emily Harper wakes up with a pounding headache and a smug sense of satisfaction. She stretches in the master bedroom of the Harper estate, enjoying the feeling of luxury that now officially belongs to her. Lauren, she's out of the picture, powerless, defeated, or so Emily thinks. Her phone buzzes. She grabs it lazily, expecting a congratulatory message from one of her real estate friends. Instead, it's a frantic voicemail from her lawyer. She frowns and puts it on speaker while she heads into her marble-tiled bathroom. "Emily, you need to call me back immediately. There's been an unexpected development regarding your mother's estate." Emily freezes mid-step. Mother's estate? Her father's will was already handled. What could possibly... She dials the number and waits impatiently as it rings. The lawyer picks up on the second ring. "Emily." His voice is tight, controlled. "Did you know that your mother had separate assets from your father?" Emily scoffs, rolling her eyes. "That's impossible. Everything belonged to Dad." A beat of silence, then the words that change everything. "Your sister now owns half the historic district in Austin, and a multi-million-dollar portfolio your mother left her." The blood drains from Emily's face. "What?" "Your mother's holdings were legally protected under her maiden name. Your father had no control over them. The properties and assets she left behind, they all belong to Lauren now." Emily's grip tightens on the phone. Her nails dig into her palm. This can't be happening. Lauren was supposed to have nothing. Emily tries to fight it. Emily storms into her lawyer's office within the hour, slamming the door behind her. "Fix this," she demands. The lawyer looks unimpressed, folding his hands together. "There's nothing to fix. Your mother's documents were legally ironclad. Every property, every account, it's all in Lauren's name." Emily's nostrils flare. "She manipulated Mom into signing everything over to her. That's fraud. The lawyer holds up a hand. "Your mother had a full medical evaluation before signing. She was in perfect mental health. If you challenge this in court, you'll lose." Emily's mind spins. No, she refuses to accept this. Her fingers dig into the armrests of her chair. If the law won't work in her favor, she'll find another way. Emily's dirty tactics. Over the next week, Emily launches a full-blown attack. She makes 3 major moves, turning their father's business partners against Lauren. Emily calls every influential figure their father ever worked with, feeding them a carefully crafted lie. Lauren tricked Mom before she died. She forced her to sign everything over. It's disgusting, really. She's trying to destroy everything Dad built. Some of them buy into it. Others, not so much. Spreading lies in the media. Emily contacts a local journalist planting a fake story. "Oh, bitter sister steals family wealth in last-minute will switch." The article spreads on social media, painting Lauren as a cold, calculating daughter who took advantage of their dying mother, hiring an investigator to find a loophole. Emily pays a private investigator to dig into Lauren's life. Find something, anything, a mistake in the paperwork, a secret bank account, a weak spot. Emily sits back, waiting for the plan to work, waiting for Lauren to break. But instead, Lauren doesn't even flinch. Lauren's countermove. Lauren doesn't waste time. She knew Emily would try to retaliate. She had prepared for this, and now it was time to turn the game on its head. She lets Emily dig her own grave. Lauren stays silent about the media slander. She lets Emily burn through her contacts, manipulating people, until they start realizing what she's doing. She plays the long game. Instead of responding directly, Lauren announces her next move publicly. She's turning one of her newly inherited buildings into an affordable housing project. The final blow, a direct challenge. Lauren calls Emily directly. "If you think I don't deserve what Mom left me, then prove it. In court. Let's see what the law decides." Emily hesitates. She knows she'll lose. For the first time in her life, Emily is on the defensive. And Lauren, she's just getting started. Emily's last desperate move. Emily sat alone in the Harper Estate's grand dining room, swirling a glass of wine as she stared at the unopened envelope in front of her. It had arrived earlier that day, delivered by hand from her father's former attorney. The note attached was brief. "Your mother left you a message. You might want to hear it." Her jaw clenched. Her mother? The same woman who sided with Lauren? The woman who betrayed her? Emily exhaled sharply, snatching up the USB drive inside the envelope. She stormed into her father's old office, ignoring the dust settling over the bookshelves. Plugging the USB into the desktop, she clicked the only file inside, a video. The screen flickered to life. And there she was. Margaret Harper, seated at her writing desk, hands folded neatly in front of her, her gaze sharp, unforgiving. Then she spoke. "Emily, I know you. I know the kind of woman you've become, and that's why I made sure you'd never get your hands on what truly mattered." Emily's breath hitched. Margaret continued, her voice as calm as ever. "You were always so desperate to be like your father, to control everything, to have it all. But you never understood what it takes to actually build something of value. You only know how to take." Emily's grip tightened on the desk. "That's why I left everything to Lauren." The words hit like a hammer, not just because she deserved it, but because I knew you would try to take it from her, and I needed you to learn that not everything in life will go your way. Emily's hands shook with rage. Her mother, her own mother, had done this on purpose, had taken everything from her, had handed it all to Lauren. Margaret Harper leaned forward in the video, her expression turning ice cold. "So if you're watching this, Emily, you have two choices. Accept your reality and move on, or keep fighting and destroy yourself in the process." The screen went black. Emily screamed and hurled the wine glass against the wall. Emily's downfall. Emily refused to accept defeat. For days, she called every lawyer she knew, trying to find some loophole, some way to challenge the documents. But the responses were always the same. "Your mother's paperwork was airtight. There's nothing to fight." She tried to rally old family friends, hoping to turn them against Lauren, but the whispers had already started. Emily's reputation was crumbling. Lauren had stayed calm, composed, while Emily had launched a full-scale, unhinged attack. And now, people were beginning to see the difference between them. The public humiliation. The final blow came unexpectedly. A breaking news article appeared on major Austin media outlets. Family scandal, Emily Harper, accused of trying to overturn late mother's estate. Lauren hadn't even needed to speak to the press. Emily had done it to herself. The backlash was instant. Investors pulled out of Harper Realty and Developments. Clients canceled contracts. Emily's entire empire, the one she had fought so hard to maintain, was collapsing around her. And then, the final, most humiliating moment of all. Her bank called. Her accounts were running dangerously low. Desperate, Emily tried to sell the Harper estate to recoup her losses, only to find that no one wanted to buy it, not with her name attached. Her only option? Auctioning it off to the highest bidder. Lauren bought it, for half its market value. Emily had to sign over the house herself. The pen felt like a dagger in her hand. Lauren, standing across the table, smiled politely. "I told you I'd be just fine." Emily had never wanted to punch someone more in her life. The final confrontation. A week later, Emily showed up at Lauren's new office, not because she wanted to, but because she had no choice. Lauren was now the most powerful real estate owner in the city, and Emily? She was looking for work. Emily hated that it had come to this. She stepped inside, her heels clicking against the polished floors. Lauren sat behind her sleek glass desk, looking up without surprise. "I was wondering when you'd come." Emily swallowed her pride. "I need a job." Lauren didn't react. She simply leaned back in her chair, studying her sister. Then she said something that made Emily's stomach drop. "Why would I hire you? You don't know how to build anything. You only know how to take." Emily's face flushed with anger. Lauren exhaled softly, as if making a decision. "I'll help you, on one condition." Emily stared at her. "You're going to work for me, and you're going to start at the bottom, entry level. No fancy office, no high-profile clients. Just you, learning how to actually earn something for once in your life." Emily's stomach twisted. Lauren waited. "Take it or leave it." Emily gritted her teeth, and after a long moment, she nodded, because she had nothing left. 6 months later, a new era begins. 6 months had passed since Lauren Harper reclaimed her family legacy. The once run-down properties her mother had left her were now undergoing a full-scale restoration project. She had hired a team, architects, developers, and designers, not just to rebuild the structures, but to create something meaningful. She stood in the middle of the old Harper estate, the morning light pouring through the windows. This house, the one Emily had been forced to sell to her, no longer felt like the monument of pain and betrayal it once was. Now, it was going to be something bigger. Lauren had already submitted plans to the city to turn the estate into the Margaret Harper Community Center, a space dedicated to young women entrepreneurs, single mothers, and small business owners. Her mother's legacy wasn't just about wealth, it was about creating opportunities. She took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of fresh paint, of new beginnings. Then her phone buzzed, a text from her assistant. "Emily's here. Do you want me to send her away?" Lauren smiled slightly. "No." "Let her in." Emily faces her new reality. Emily walked into the Harper Development office, her heels clicking against the polished floors. Gone was the confident, arrogant woman who had once smirked at Lauren across a lawyer's table. Now, she was just Emily, not the heir, not the successful real estate mogul, just another woman trying to find her place. She had taken Lauren's job offer, not because she wanted to, but because she had no choice. Her former clients had dropped her. Her business had collapsed, and for the first time in her life, Emily was forced to work for something she couldn't manipulate her way into. Lauren was waiting for her in the conference room. She was dressed in her usual business casual, a cup of coffee in hand, exuding the same calm confidence she always had. Emily cleared her throat. "I'm here." Lauren gestured to a seat across from her. "I know. Sit." Emily obeyed, her jaw tight. Lauren took a sip of coffee, then set the mug down. "How's the new job treating you?" Emily bristled, but kept her tone measured. "It's fine." Lauren raised an eyebrow. "Fine?" Emily exhaled, looking away. "I'm learning." That was the truth. For the first time in her life, she wasn't handed power on a silver platter. She wasn't sitting in a luxury high-rise office, barking orders at assistants. Instead, she was taking calls, answering emails, attending client meetings, doing the grunt work she had once looked down on. Lauren leaned back. "Good." Emily frowned. "You enjoy this, don't you? Watching me struggle?" Lauren shook her head. "No, I enjoy watching you actually work for something for once in your life." Emily clenched her fists. But deep down, she knew Lauren wasn't wrong. The family's final shift. A week later, Lauren received an unexpected visitor. Her mother's old friend, Patricia, arrived at the new Margaret Harper Community Center. Her eyes filled with nostalgia. She walked through the halls, running her fingers along the restored wooden panels. Then she turned to Lauren. "Your mother would have been proud of you." Lauren's throat tightened. She had spent so many years being overlooked, being told she was second best, being told she wasn't the right one to carry the Harper legacy forward. But now, she had built something that wasn't just hers, but something that could help others. Lauren took a deep breath and nodded. "I hope so." The final conversation between sisters. That evening, Lauren found herself walking through one of the newly renovated properties. A small bakery was set to open here next month, run by a young woman who had once struggled to get a loan. This was the kind of legacy she wanted to leave. She heard footsteps behind her. Emily. Lauren turned to see her sister standing uncertainly in the doorway. Emily glanced around, her arms crossed. "You really did it, huh?" Lauren nodded. "Yeah, I did." Emily let out a breath, shifting her weight. "You could have let me drown, you know." Lauren tilted her head. "I could have." Silence. Then Emily swallowed hard. "Why didn't you?" Lauren looked at her sister, the woman who had once tried to take everything from her, and saw something different now. Not an enemy, not a rival, just another person trying to find her way. Lauren exhaled, giving Emily a small, knowing smile. "Because that's not how you build something that lasts." Emily's gaze dropped for a moment. Then, for the first time in years, she nodded, and for the first time Lauren believed her. The final letter from Mom. That night, Lauren sat at her desk, sipping tea as she flipped through her mother's final belongings. She had read her mother's letters so many times before. But now the words felt different. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about taking something back. It's about proving that you never needed them to give it to you in the first place. Lauren smiled softly. Outside her window, the city was alive. The buildings she had inherited, once just symbols of wealth, were now beacons of opportunity for people like her, people who had been told they weren't enough. And Emily? She was finally learning what it meant to work for something real. Lauren took one last sip of tea. Then she picked up her phone and texted her assistant. "Let's buy another building.